If there's anything that I've learned from this past weekend, it is this. It is that at some point in my life, I have to get my ass over to San Diego for Comic-Con, because, man, the shit I saw this weekend, on YouTube, obviously, I've got a lot to talk about. Let's just put it like that. So, for starters, I'm going to talk about the most obvious thing, the biggest thing, the Batman vs. Superman trailer, the new one. So, here we go. There's obviously a lot of things in this trailer that need to be talked about, so bear with me, I may forget some of them, so please point them out. But with that said, here we go. So the first thing you see in the trailer is pretty much Superman coming down a hole. It looks like he's being put on trial for something, and as it turns out, there's a committee hearing about what happened in Metropolis in Man of Steel because, as everyone knows by now and has discussed it several times, Superman destroyed Metropolis. Or they think he did. If anyone who saw the movie, like I did, actually realized it was about 95% General Zod and the aliens destroyed Metropolis, and Superman was just there to try and stop them. And the World Engine was doing a good job of terraforming the planet too, that nobody saw. But regardless, well, he's on trial, they hold him responsible, and so now there's conflicting views, which I like. I like the tone that they're having, either good or bad versus Superman. He's either good or he's bad. And they acknowledge that he's very dangerous with that kind of power, but, well, you'll see where it goes from there. On the other hand, you have Batman. You have Ben Affleck as Batman, who's finally doing something. In the trailer, you actually see him on the phone, and he's actually in the middle of Metropolis when that battle is happening. Specifically when General Zod shoots his lasers out through the building, and the building crumbles. And it turns out that's actually Wayne Tower, or one of them. And the building crumbles, and he runs toward it, and he runs towards it in a very 9/11-like way. Kind of like Batman would. And all he sees after the rubble comes down is he's just looking up the sky, and he's just got this really mean look like. So naturally, he probably blames Superman for what happened, even though, like I said, it really wasn't Superman. Looking back at that scene, it was actually Zod who did it, but, well, there's two aliens and only one of them is alive right now, so naturally you would blame Superman. I mean, he doesn't know which two are in that building. He doesn't know if they both have superpowers or not, nor does he know who's who, but, well, there you have it. And there's a little conversation between him and Alfred both times in the trailer. He says, and Alfred's just like, this is what turns good men cruel. And if you notice, there's a little point where he's looking at what appears to be a costume in a case, and it has something written on it. It says, "Haha, joke's on you, Batman," which is heavily implying that this is probably going to follow the Dark Knight Returns storyline, because at some point, if you look closely on the costume, you can see a little R right here on the side that indicates Robin. So, okay, so well, Robin was around at some point, meaning he probably died. It's actually a pretty good theory running around that he was the one in the building when it collapsed. So that actually makes a ton of sense. And so that's pretty much why we have our conflict now. Ben Affleck, or Batman rather, is angry at Superman because, well, the building collapsed. Now another thing we need to talk about in this movie. Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. It's been talked about time and time again. To me, he's doing an okay job. I mean, he doesn't really sound Lex Luthor-ish like from the cartoons or even from Michael Rosenbaum's character. But he carries it off enough in like a weird, creepy way. I actually thought he was going to be bald for the movie, but it appears he's got some hair coming down. It might be a wig. I don't know. Nevertheless, I'm looking forward to it, but it just feels a little off to me. Especially at the end when he says, "The red capes are coming. The red capes are coming." I don't know if he's being sarcastic or whatever, but, well, we'll see where that goes. And throughout the trailer, you have a bunch of other things. You have Wonder Woman finally, who's actually finally in the trailer for once. I actually was looking forward to seeing her ever since they announced her and showed pictures of her in costume. And she actually does a couple of things. She actually looks like she's getting thrown against the wall or something. And then she clasps her little golden brands together like bam, and it creates a shockwave. Who's she fighting against? We don't know. And then back to Superman. He's doing several good things. There's a picture of him, or a little clip of him, floating in the sky above some people who are stranded on houses during a flood, which looks an awful lot like Hurricane Katrina. And generally, Superman is doing very good things, which heavily implies that, based on Ben Affleck's dialogue, Ben Affleck is going to be the aggressor, or rather, Batfleck is going to be the aggressor. And Superman is just not trying to be bothered. I mean, he's not picking a fight, he's just there to do good, but again, Batman doesn't know that at this time. So there's a couple other things. You actually see Lex Luthor grab some kryptonite, or what appears to be kryptonite. You see him kind of like touch Superman and kind of caress his face almost in a really creepy, pedo-ish way while Superman just glares at him. And then you have the big showdown between Batman and Superman. They're both fighting each other. They're both pissed off. Well, Superman more so. He even shoots his eye lasers at him and almost kills him, but he kind of gets away in the very iconic pose of The Dark Knight Returns. And then at the end, you finally see it. You see Superman kind of walk up to the Batmobile in which Batman is in. He just kind of steps on it. He just kind of grabs it and rips off the hull or whatever. And then Batman steps out and just stares him in the face like. And then the trailer ends. And that's actually a pretty badass scene. He just, like, Batman just doesn't give a fuck if it's Superman or whatever. He's just going to fight you regardless, and Superman is not having it, but neither is Batman. I also want to point out that I noticed that in both this trailer and the last one that came out, Superman doesn't really have any dialogue whatsoever. None at all. I just noticed that. And I found that kind of interesting, but, well, maybe not that interesting, but it's just something I took note of. And yes, before you ask, I will talk about the other trailers later as soon as I get a good look at them. But for now, we're going to finish with Batman vs. Superman. So, the Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice official trailer for San Diego Comic-Con. Have you seen it? What did you think? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? What's your favorite part of the trailer? Whatever it is, leave me a comment below and tell me how you feel. Also, don't forget to check out my Twitter at AsteroidMike. Don't forget to check out my blog. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel while you're at it. You can either click on the link below or on the next slide. And as always, I will see you around.